All right, so today I'm excited to welcome a truly inspiring guest or two guests. It's Anita and Anton. They're originally from South Africa. Anton's built a successful home inspection business here in the United States. Him and his wife Anita live in Riverview, Florida. They've been there for the last 8 years. And Anton, I believe you were born in Bothaville in the Free State.
Yeah.
You come from a very strong agricultural background. You got a degree in animal science, and then later an MBA from the University of Pretoria. And then after that, you guys decided you wanted to be missionaries in the US, if I have that correctly,
Yep.
starting in 1999. And you were here for a long time. And then you had some issues with the visa. You came back to South Africa. You guys started a church in Potchefstroom, South Africa, which is fantastic. I mean, just so great. And then you found yourself back in the U.S. With family sponsorship, I believe, through your
My
daughter.
daughter. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And now you run a super successful home inspection business, which a lot of our members are super interested in. So, Anita and Anton, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey here? I mean, it's so fascinating.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Ja, weet je, snap
So yeah, it was a tough journey. I think for everybody that moved to another country, it can be traumatic if you don't approach it the right way, And for us, it was in the beginning. I mean, we felt that really that God called us to come as missionaries to the U.S. So we left everything. We actually gave everything away that we had in South Africa, and we took a step of faith, and we came over here in 1999. And we have four children, and we brought them with us, and we started. And that time, it was easy to get a visa. It was really easy to do your paperwork. It's not as it is today.
Right,
So
very
you could
challenging.
literally do it yourself. You could can get a worker's visa very easily, you know. And so we came over here as missionaries. We had a church on the street for homeless people and drug addicts and prostitutes
Wow.
for 7 years. But I also worked full time. So I was in South Africa. I was an IT manager for an agricultural company, Southwest Corporation. And when we came over here, I started to get involved in the computer business, and I supernaturally just became a partner with a guy in a secondhand computer shop, and that was our income. So our church was not an income for us because it was homeless people. So, but we did that for 7 years, and just shortly before I'm going to give to my wife a little bit before. When 9/11 happened, it was really impossible to renew our visas. And so we got a letter from the INS says we need to leave the country. So we kind of self-deported. We packed our bags and went back and hoped that we could come back here when we apply in South Africa. And then we found out they banned us for 10 years out of the country.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. So we had a house in Lakeland, and we lost everything. We started over in South Africa. Now, yes. I'm telling you, it's really not that bad to start over in America because
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunities.
Right,
But to
right.
start over in South Africa is a total different issue.
I've
So
heard that. I mean, I'm just thinking the amount of money that me and my family brought over here and
Yes.
what it took to get here to reverse that is like, I mean, it's kind of it's
yeah,
almost impossible. And like you said, the amount of opportunities, getting back into the workplace. And as you know, with all of the restrictions in South Africa, the laws, BEE, all of that stuff, it's
absolutely.
so difficult.
Yeah. And my
Yeah.
children didn't want to go back, and we didn't want to go back. And we had the ministry, and it was just so difficult for us to go back. It was kind of a very traumatic
Yeah.
experience for us.
I can
But we
imagine.
started over. When we got there, we lived with her sister and her brother-in-law in their house in one small room for a while, and then we started the home cell, and then we started the church, and then before we know, we grew a church in Potchefstroom, and we did that for 12 years. But after 10 years, we my daughter petitioned for us for our green cards, and
Right.
so we came over back here with our green cards. And last year we became citizens. Yeah, we applied for our citizenship.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's amazing. I remember that
So
day too. I think 2017 I got my US citizenship with my parents, and just such an amazing day, So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Look, we have all our brothers and sisters are still in South Africa. We miss the culture.
yeah.
We miss the family. We miss the just the environment over there. But
Hmm.
every time I go there and I just see what's happening over there, I just want to come back. You know,
Yeah,
it,
Unfortunately.
it, it's better here. Yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate. I've went through those same kind of bouts of depression. You go back and you see your friends and, like you say, your culture, your language and stuff, and it feels like things that you've lost and you kind of out of touch with, but you have to kind of try and focus on the life you're trying to build here, and
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
keeping the focus on that. It's very difficult. I try to explain it to people that are hoping to come over, with this refugee program. I try to warn them, like, yes, in the beginning, you're going to be like, wow, everything is amazing, everything's great. But you're going to go through phases where you have those feelings of, oh my gosh, I made a big mistake or whatever. So I think that's important, that, you guys also had an experience like that. So I feel like pretty validated in what I felt
Yes,
too.
it's definitely so. I think every time I go back to South Africa, I want to stay there for a little longer. But like Anton says, then you notice all the infrastructure and everything politically wise that is so negative there. And then I just want to come back here because I feel safer here. But I also always recognize the sacrifice that I had to make from the start. And it might have been easier in a sense of way the second time we came because I already had an idea what I'm going to step into here. But it doesn't diminish the trauma. I really want to emphasize that because I didn't know that I really am traumatized
Yeah.
after about a year and a half when I was still, sometimes finding myself feeling depressed.
Hmm.
And I couldn't understand because it's like, this is awesome. I'm so glad to be here,
Right, right.
but still I find myself to feel depressed and lonely and isolated because of the fact that our culture in South Africa is if you step off the plane, you step into a community. It's just
Yes,
so
yeah.
it's so different to explain that you have to build a community here. You have to find friends. You have to go out. You have to join a church or join things that you can meet people and start building friendships and get to know people and gather people around you so that you can get out and visit them and have just nice times with them, barbecue, teach them to how to
Yeah.
braai.
No, I 100% agree with you. It's very, you have to initiate things here. That's a key
Yes,
difference. Like you said, you go to South Africa, especially us Afrikaners, we're very social, and like you
yes,
said, you step into your own community in South Africa and you're at home. But here you have to kind of build your own home and, build your network, and people aren't
that's right.
as connected, I would say.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
big difference. Yeah, for
I,
sure.
I, I think that was if I have to say, that was the most difficult thing for me personally.
100%. I agree with you. I
Because I
think that
don't,
was for me
yeah,
too.
yeah, because I don't make friends easily. So that is the harder part. And
Yeah.
I want a particular group of people as friends, so yes, and especially with family. And you can walk into a home there any time of the day in South Africa and have tea with somebody, and they will welcome you, and you can talk like old friends. And here it's definitely not the same. I was very surprised to see that you can't just knock on the door and say, "Hey, can I come visit you?"
Yeah.
Because you
Yep.
you are most definitely will not be welcome at the time. And you don't they don't give their numbers out. They don't,
No.
they're just not the same culture wise. That was a big shock to me.
But the other
100%.
thing is, if you think about South African culture, you don't ask for help. That's part of our culture. That's how we grew up. I mean, you come over
Yeah.
here, I don't want anybody to help me. I will get it done.
Yep.
And that's kind of the attitude. And it's not a, I don't want to call it a pride, but it's just who we are. It's part of
Yeah.
my Afrikaner culture. We came over here, and we think we never ask people for help. We did, and people probably help some people, but to know that by 8 months after we came here, we ran out of money. We had nothing. We had no money, nothing.
Nothing.
But we always say we have God, and we have Him, and we have His promises, and we just kept on believing. But I think the main thing is we didn't know where to start and
Yeah.
what to do, and
Right.
what is the opportunities. I mean, everybody tell you
There are a lot of opportunities,
there's a
but
lot of
where do you
opportunities,
begin?
but where do you start?
Exactly.
What can you do today to start making money? And there
Yeah.
are things you can do, and we never knew that. So we kind
Yep.
of was without money, and then suddenly, we just find out, okay, there's things we can do to bring in.
Right.
If it's cash every day, just bring some 150, $200 cash in every day from now on, and start building that way,
Yep.
took the small steps, and before you know, there's more opportunities, and you really come to the understanding how many opportunities are there around you. You just have to be willing
to do what your hands
to do it.
can.
I mean, in South Africa, if you're an Uber driver in South Africa, you're really low grade. It's a low grade job. But if you're an
Yeah.
Uber driver in America, it is great stuff. You can make
Exactly.
A lot of money.
I
know
made
some friends that,
$4,000 a month on Uber.
Yes.
You
yeah,
know, in the
yeah,
beginning.
exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's so powerful that you're saying that. And that's kind of been my personal. If you say you guys had a mission, that's my mission. I have made it my goal to help people in South Africa to know these things, to not
yeah.
make the same mistakes as what I made, and to say, hey, listen, start here, try this or that, and build from there. So yeah,
Right. And South Africans, we can work hard. We're not lazy people,
yeah,
and we are entrepreneurs. Most of the people I meet that are South Africans, they're entrepreneurs. They work things out for themselves. And if you have that opportunity in front of him, he will go for it, and make a success of it.
Yes.
100%.
And I think I did a few things. I think at the time, I said to my wife, I have 5 jobs right now. I'm working. I did a lot of stuff, but I took care of my family, and we paid our rent, and we have everything going on. So that's the thing that I think we can help people with, Andrea. If people want to know, we did Amazon Flex. Maybe most people don't even know what Amazon Flex is, but we
I don't
did.
think I know what Amazon
Yeah.
Flex is either.
So Amazon Flex is nice. Amazon has got their stores everywhere in every state. And if you sign up for Amazon Flex, then they give you blocks of
Deliveries.
deliveries. You go there to their store, they give you 40 boxes, and it's all in a closed area, and you drop it off, and you make $100 or $120. They pay you up front. And you can do that every day, and sometimes it's early in the morning, sometimes it's late at night. But I combined that with my Uber drives, and with that, it was really good. I worked hard,
Yeah, no, I
because
can imagine that.
you're not if you do this for yourself and you start with opportunities, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It is
No,
not.
absolutely not.
And
No.
it's probably a 4 to 11 job, and then again a 3 to 12 job, something like that.
Exactly.
But if you're willing to do that, you will become in a place where you can sustain yourself and your family and take care of yourself, and from there on, the other things will open. That's
Yeah.
how I started my home inspection business. I was Ubering.
Yeah.
And
So did
I
you
started my
use some of that
business.
funding to kind of like start your
Absolutely.
business? Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, well, if I can just do 2 inspections a week.
Yeah.
And so I was Ubering, and while I'm Ubering, I had a lead company, and all that information I can really help people with. But the lead come through, and then I book it, say, for the next day. So the next day, I know I'm not going to do Uber. I'm going to do my
Right.
inspections.
Right.
And a month later, it was 3 inspections a week. And a month later, it was 4 inspections a week. And then 5 inspections. And so you move on and you grow your business on the side,
Yes.
but you still make good money. You still make an income.
Exactly.
I
And you're
also,
paying the bills too. Like, you're not like falling behind on that. You
Yeah,
build your business. I think
yeah.
that's the perfect way to do it. And I would recommend that to, anyone wanting to start a new business is, do these little odd jobs until you can,
absolutely.
keep,
Yeah,
keep up with your main job. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Anton, how did you get into home inspection? Just in general, like, how do you get
Oh.
into that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did
Back.
you start?
I'm gonna let my wife tell you that. But
Okay.
before that, it was so strange. I was looking for different things. I became a financial planner first.
Okay.
So I did investments and I did life insurance policies, sold life insurance policies, but really struggled doing that. I worked for a company, but didn't make good money. And I
Mm,
did all my licensing and it was tough and all my exams and it was really difficult to get all those licenses, but it didn't do anything for me. And
mm,
I think it was just,
We ended up actually losing our home, remember?
yeah.
Because we were renting a place and then
mm.
suddenly it was during that time, was it COVID? And they upped their prices,
Yeah,
just said,
yeah. I
okay,
think that
and they let
happened
us
during
know the
COVID.
next day, okay, it's going to be $400 extra now to rent this
Wow.
place. And we were at that time living in Fort Myers just for a short time because we were helping out at a church there. And we said, okay, we'll stay there for 2 years and then come back here because my grandkids are here. And then that happened a year in. And so I said to him, listen, we're going to move now and then we have to move at the end of the year as well. So we can just as well make it one trip and just move.
Right, right.
But when we came back, there was no place to stay because all the Californians and the New Yorkers were buying up all the properties here and
Yeah.
everything was, the prices were spiking and we couldn't afford a place. So I had to live with my daughter for 4 months, 3 or 4
Wow.
months, which was not amazing, awful.
Not amazing.
No,
It was awful.
it was awful.
Not because they're bad, but it's just,
I didn't
yeah.
do that. But anyway,
Yeah. I
a
mean,
few
it's
months.
difficult, like living close, not having your own space and that too, it doesn't
Right.
matter how much you
Yeah.
love your daughter or your son or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
it's, you want to
yeah,
do your own thing. And that kid's kind of difficult.
sure. But
But,
anyway,
yeah.
so we were talking, and Anton was the thing is also with the job sometimes that you get, and which was strange to me is you find a job sometimes, and then they can just decide overnight, okay, we don't need you anymore. You don't need to come tomorrow. They just do it like that sometimes,
Yeah, yeah.
So they told Anton, okay, you can stay with us, but you're going to have to do this, and he had to start doing cold calls.
Oh,
Like cold
that's
calls.
awful. That's awful. Yeah. I
So
can't imagine doing that. It's
No,
I couldn't watch him doing that. It's like he was
no,
just getting so depressed.
it was
Yeah.
really bad.
So
Yeah.
we really just prayed. We asked God for wisdom, and we did. I said, God, you need to give us something else that we cannot do this anymore. So one morning I just got up and I got this bright idea, and I know. And afterwards I actually read it in the scriptures that God is the giver of all ideas, and He's giving godly ideas. And
mm,
I just got this idea and I said to him, listen, now that the house market is up and
mm,
booming, there must be something in that range that you can do. What can we do? And I was thinking, and we were talking back and forth, and we thought maybe home inspections, because
mm.
here everybody needs to do home inspections at least twice in a short time. If you buy
Right.
a house or you sell a house or you want your insurance changed or even just insurance, you have to have a home inspection done. So I said, what about that? So go Google. So he went and he Googled about it. And we
Mm-hmm.
found out about all these courses. And that's a very important thing that I would like to say to people that come. They have to go investigate and see
Yeah.
what is available out there. In any sort of job,
Yeah.
there's so
Yeah.
much they can be trained in it. So he had
Yes.
to be trained, and he had to write a few test exams. Or what
Exams.
would you call it? Yeah.
Hmm.
And he just jumped in
But I
straight
did
in
everything online. Everything was
online,
online, and I
everything.
was 3 months later. I had my Florida
Yeah,
license,
yeah,
and I was ready to do my first inspection.
yes,
Right. So and so I started doing my inspections, and the great thing about home inspection is you start your own job, but you add your certifications. Right now, I cannot tell you how many certifications I have, but
That's something like mold, stuff like that in
I
Florida
do
is really
water well
big too.
tests, I do
Yeah.
foundation level tests, I do insurance inspections, I mean, I have a broad
Mitigation.
range of inspections I do. And but the important thing what my wife says, you need to do your online training through the
Yes, the
right
certification.
company.
Yes.
Okay.
There is one company that stands out above all others, you know. And sometimes if you want to do an inspection for a real estate company, they ask you, did you do
Mm,
your training with that company?
I see. So they're kind of
So
like more broadly recognized as the
they
gold standard
have they
for home
have
inspection.
credibility in the industry. So, and that's the information I can give people. This is where you go. This is the company you do your license with. You know, this is how you do it. But and even your home inspection software. What software do you use? Because there are specific software that really is also again stand out. You know, the client when the client get the reports, they are so happy with how your reports look like because you use the
Mm.
right software. So that's the same thing. The software you use, you know, that kind of connections is important. What kind of lead company can you use? How do you do your leads? You know,
Yes. Yeah.
without paying too much money, you know, because in the
Absolutely.
beginning I paid too much money for leads, but I became very clever with that. I know now how to do that. But it's all of these things and links and things that I can help people with if they're interested. But just for you to say, I had no idea about construction
Yeah, I think
before
that
I
was
start
one of
my
the most
business.
important things. I'd assume maybe you had some kind of background in building or
Nothing,
something like that, you
nothing,
know.
nothing, nothing. So I started with being a home inspector from nothing. But the great thing about it is, Andrea, when I had in mind in the beginning just to do my home inspection, but the moment I had my license,
Mm.
a company called me and said, "Can we hire you as a project manager?"
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the other thing. It's very, I mean, companies are looking for assistant project managers, for field technicians, for project
Hmm.
managers, and they train you very well when you're part of that.
Handyman.
They only want to know, do you have a license?
Right.
Because,
And that's
yeah,
important. I think a lot of people in South Africa may not realize how important it is here to check certain boxes,
Yes.
getting your certification done. People really
exactly.
do look at, they're very, thorough with that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
having that in place really does set you apart from, all the other candidates
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I got a job immediately from a company. I think they paid me at that time was great. They paid me $75,000 a year. I
Mm.
started with benefits and everything. You know, what was great for me to start up with that. And then, but I mean, I just qualified as a home inspector.
Wow,
I just got my license, you know.
that's
And
amazing.
and then from there, I had built up some great experience and inspections, and you know what is important. But you know, I have about two people right now that I mentor and coach how to do their businesses. So I can help people a lot with detail of the templates they need to go through a house to know what to look for, and so I mean, it's just easier if you have somebody that coach you through the process and mentor you a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be so valuable. I know so many of our members that are looking for business ideas. They have been entrepreneurs in South Africa, looking for a new career path in the US. Don't like you said, don't know where to start,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
what they need to do. So we'll definitely, if you're willing, we'll, provide some contact information. If they're serious
yeah,
about it, they can
yeah.
contact me and we can
Even
connect
if people
you
just want
guys.
to have more information, but I started my business in January, and in July my business was completely running full steam.
Wow.
At 6 months, I mean, normally a business takes 3 years to get it off the ground.
Yeah, you stopped Ubering.
Yeah, and I stopped Ubering, and it was the only thing I did was my inspection business.
Wow, wow. Is there, tell me, Anton, is there any kind of like, maybe, South Africans may not be aware of like how sue heavy culture in the United States? Is there some kind of like insurance that you have for your business? I know some other business that, you know, people get some kind of insurance. Is that something necessary or not necessarily?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely necessary. I have a business insurance, but it only costs me $26 a month. So,
Yeah,
but that covers me. And with every inspection, the client signs an agreement.
yeah, yeah.
So that and my
Yeah.
software handles all of that. So that's all in the inspection
Inside of
software.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing. And I
yeah,
can speak from personal experience. I worked for a little bit in real estate too, and we would hire certain inspectors over other ones that, you know, like you said, the reports are amazing, that it's detailed, you know, so the
right.
type
Yeah,
of person you're going to get to come in again. So very important to build rapport, build your business like that. So
Yes.
so are you mainly doing, you know, is it just for resale, home resale, or do you do any inspections for like new construction or any of that as well?
yeah. So I do new constructions when people buy brand new homes. Then I do warranty inspections. So after 11 months, I want to do a warranty inspection to see the foundation is still good, if there's no big cracks in the walls and stuff like that. So I do that. I also do manufactured homes, mobile
Mm.
homes, which is
Oh,
a total different thing
I
because you
can
need to get
imagine.
underneath that house and look at all the anchors and the straps for hurricane. I do a lot of hurricane
Mm.
impact inspections, wind mitigation inspections. I do a lot of those. I do a lot of normal 4-point insurance inspections just to get insurance, you know. So, and as my wife said in America, I mean, everybody has to do an inspection. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it, you know. And if you finance a house, you have to do insurance inspections. So
right, right.
those things are that business is out there. You just need to get your reviews up and say you're a great inspector. You have a great reviews from
Yeah,
people,
important.
you know, and if you have that, I mean, your business is running fine.
Oh, absolutely. And I think just word of mouth, you know, like I said too, is we would hire inspectors that we knew showed up, did a great job. So that's not a very difficult thing as long as you're, like you said, you're willing to work and you
Right.
invest a little bit in like the best software and get
Yeah.
your certifications, you know, from the most reputable companies. And you're well on your way, it seems like
Yeah,
that.
and you know, there's small things that people probably want to know. So I don't have a pickup truck. You don't need a pickup truck. You know, I have a 17 feet ladder in my car. So
That's interesting.
and
That's American.
yeah,
This is
and you
America.
have these ladders are available. I mean, my ladder can stretch out to 17 feet, but otherwise you can, you can bring it down to about, just about this high. So, uh, and the other thing is, if you think of buying a car, don't get something that's high on gas. Get a hybrid car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
and don't
overinvest
get a
in something
don't get a
that's zero
plug-in, don't
B.
get a plug-in hybrid or electric vehicle. Get a normal hybrid car that charges its battery by itself. You
Mm.
know, I had a Honda CRV. I think I got about 22 miles per gallon with my
Mm.
CRV, and it's a and with
Hybrid.
my hybrid, and it's a SUV. It's a nice big SUV. I get double that mileage. I get
Wow.
44 miles per gallon.
Yeah, because obviously you have to
So
travel.
people need to think about that because now you say, okay, you start your own business. You don't want to just look for jobs about 20 miles away. You will definitely go for a job that's 100 miles away
Right, right.
because
Yes.
you want to grow your business. But then you need to have low gas mileage on your
Yeah.
car that you can drive that distance and get it home.
Reliable vehicle that is not going to cost you a fortune to keep
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, paying for the gas. I mean, I know I've got a big diesel truck, and that thing is like you start it up and it's like halfway empty.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
know.
something you want to
It's kind
use
of,
for your
yeah.
business, you
It's
know?
it's kind of its idle and says dollar, dollar, dollar.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
No.
dollar, dollar, dollar. Exactly. No, that's fantastic advice. I think, you know, like you said, you don't need a truck to be a home inspector. That's something that people may not know or
I
realize, you
think
know.
Yeah.
And what about like, is there any like other major investments that you had to make outside of, your software? Like, is there any other things that maybe you spent a pretty penny on? Maybe you regretted spending money on it, or maybe it's like, yes, I need this or that, so is there anything like that?
In the beginning, I mean, the guys I worked with the other day, I told them, if you put about $1,000 aside, you can buy all the things you need for a really good home inspection. Because some of the tools are a little bit more
Right.
more expensive than others.
But you did it as you go. Remember.
But I did it as I go. So in the beginning, I mean, I struggled with, I had to filter out the homes that are double stories because how do you get on a double story? A single story is, single story roof. Yeah. So now I'm a drone pilot. I'm a FAA certified drone pilot.
That's
So I
amazing.
fly drones, and the FAA gives me approval to fly in restricted areas because I'm certified with them. I have a license.
So he doesn't need to get on the roof.
Yeah, so I don't get
that's
on
great.
roofs anymore. I just fly my drone. Yeah, that's it. And the nice thing about it, I take also aerial pictures. If you were in real estate, you take aerial pictures. I put some extras into my inspections. That people love to see. So
Oh, I mean, and me and my husband, we've bought several properties, sold several properties, bought some dud properties. But the roof, I don't think people realize how important the roof is
Important.
in
Yeah,
Florida. And if you have an old roof, it's hard to get insurance.
Yes.
They're a fortune to replace.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
like 30 to 50,000 US dollars
That's
to
right.
replace.
right.
So
Yeah,
important,
yeah,
guys. Remember, when you buy purchase a home, I'm assuming it's like that in other places too, but unfortunately in Florida, with the hurricanes, the natural disasters we have, the roof
yeah.
has to be in good quality for the insurance company to even look at you. But yeah, that's definitely something. Like, remember, remember about the
Yeah,
roof.
no.
What roof did you say?
So I'll shingle roofs here because they actually make adjustments on that too. But roofs only hold you for like 25 years. So if you buy a house and your roof is already 20 years old, you're not going to even get insurance on it. You're going to have to
Exactly,
replace it. Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of people, get stonewalled on sales, especially, the sellers are like, well, I have to now replace this roof because I'm not getting people that are interested in buying a house because most people need to finance a home. They don't have the
Yeah.
cash to just buy a house. And,
Right.
and frankly, even if they did, they still have to go ahead and replace the roof. So that's more, investment for them. So it's a big issue in Florida. That,
Yeah.
and of course your AC. You cannot live without an AC in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, if a water heater is older than 10 years, I recommend replace it. If it's old, as an HVAC system is more than 12 years, replace it. So the seller, I always tell the guy, go to your seller, you need to replace it or give you credit on your buy.
Yes, yes,
So there
100%.
are certain things, I mean, even if there's people that just want to buy a house, they're welcome to call me, what to look for. Yeah. Yeah, and I always tell people in insurance, I mean, in Florida, you need to have a hip roof. If you don't have a hip roof, if you have a hip roof, you can cut your insurance payment with 28% per month. If you
Wow,
just have a hip roof. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't even know that.
yeah.
That's quite interesting. Yeah. So right now we have tile on our roof. We don't have shingles, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, the shingles are a big thing over here. They look very flimsy, and they really are. So people
Yeah.
just be aware
Yeah.
of that. So yeah.
Yeah, but the gable, so you don't want a gable roof. You want to have a hip roof, unless you want to pay more for your insurance. But, there are certain things you just want to look for, when you buy a house. But I mean, for people that want to get in the home inspection business, they're very welcome to contact me, and
They'd
I
be very,
can
very, I'm sure they
give
would
them
like,
some
like
great
to
ideas.
contact
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Also, his business also requires to use handyman men, and it is hard for him to find a good handyman. So
Yeah.
that's also
Yes.
something that people can think about.
Yeah.
I've had several people contact me saying, "Hey, I don't really know what to do, but I can fix anything." And something like that is especially very useful in, and like I said before, home sales. You've completed your inspection.
Yes.
Oh dear! Like now, the buyer's like, this or that, can we maybe get that done? You always need like a handyman for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. And so while she's saying that, just to think of it, I'm just want to drop it with you, but I do work a lot in project management with the government on what we call weatherization assistance programs. So, and that's just on the side, but if somebody say I can do anything, you know, the good thing for them, the great thing for them would be to contact an agency, a government agency
Yeah.
that's doing grants, and say,
Okay.
listen, I'm a handyman. Do you have a weatherization assistance program? Because that handyman work is really not much, but to do hand with your hands, but they pay really okay,
Yeah. Well,
and you can quickly get into being a handyman. All you need to do is you need to register a business, and I mean, we have field guides. We give the people, this is what you do when you need to replace the bulbs. This is how you replace a bulb. We have,
Yeah.
yeah, we train. Yeah, we have all of this. We have a field guide for everything that these people
we
are
train
doing.
them.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just if somebody listened to that and want to ask me about that, I just want to mention that.
Yeah. And those guys
Uh,
makes a lot of money because they also work for themselves. But
right.
his company need them, and if they stay on par, I mean, if they diligent and they're there when they need to be there and they do a good job, they can earn a lot of money with just one inspection, and if or not inspection,
Yeah, to do the repairs.
Some
to do the
repairs. Yeah.
repairs, and
Right.
it's usually just to replace a light fixture.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
It's not
It's not difficult things to do.
something that's a
This is-
major training
Yeah.
needed for. They just need to have insurance, I think, and he can help them how to get that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he's got this one particular guy that's working with him that had so much work that he could hire other people to help him. So he has a whole team already built up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he makes 50,000, 60,000 a month just
Wow.
with handyman work. So
That's crazy.
really, it's amazing opportunity.
Yeah, no. It's just
Yeah.
opportunities that I just want to mention,
Yeah.
but it is available.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and something that I've been stressing too, is they kind of overlook like the more typical blue collar jobs,
Yes.
and think, oh, I'm not really going to make a lot of money. And
Yes.
I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. In the United States, if you can do anything with your hands, you are like set. You'll always have a job. They pay really well. It's so funny. I actually, many years ago, hired a plumber. He was a very good plumber. He started his own plumbing business. He also had an MBA. And he's like, I worked the corporate world and I quit my job because I make like twice what I made over there, just doing plumbing.
Yes, exactly.
So, it's people look down on that stuff, but I'm like,
Yes.
money's money. Take it and
That's
you
right.
can build a life,
Yeah.
it's good. So
So I
that's
want to tell you, I used to be a special ed teacher. I worked at a school. Currently, I'm watching a baby maybe 3 mornings a week, and I earn more than I earned as a teacher in South Africa.
wow. Yeah,
Yes.
I think people will be kind of blown away by that. And your
Yes.
background in education, we may have to do maybe a separate interview with you because a lot of
Yeah.
people have some questions about schools here, and
Yes.
actually I do have two people that have been asking about, they have an autistic child or they have this or
Yes.
that, what kind of programs are available for kids like that here,
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not really sure, because my daughter's very, very small. She's still in like preschool.
Yes.
But maybe that would be some, a future topic that people
Yes.
would maybe, interested in too. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so I don't know what else to tell you. This is our lives. We are we still renting our home, but we're looking to buy a home. So for people that come over here in America, it's kind of you need to build up some credit first. That's something we had to learn, from the beginning.
If I
So
don't come with my, right?
Yeah, so open an account where you can build some credit and start paying it off per month, and you can build some good credit, So start doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Anton and Anita. I really appreciate you guys just, giving me so much of your time. And I'm going to work on doing a little bit of editing on our video. I'll publish it, and I'm sure people are going to really want to reach out to you guys because this is so valuable. Just
Thank
going through
you.
everything you guys went through. Do you have any final words of advice for people that are wanting to come over? I'll give the floor to you, and then we can say goodbye to each other.
Well, I think for some people it's probably more important than for others. We just want to give God all the glory
Yes.
for our lives.
Yeah.
He was, he was the most important thing for us through those years, and we hold on to him in everything we did, and we made it a prayer thing, and everything that we approach. Never look back. Never,
Yeah.
never live in regret. I've learned in a young age that somebody told me, if you live in your past, you curse your own future. Don't look back.
Yeah.
You are here. Make the best of it.
Yeah.
This is a country that you can really do it well.
Yeah.
Don't live in your past. Don't wonder, oh, well, should I probably should have tried a little longer. No, you're here right now. That's
Yes.
over. It's a new life. It's a new season. And with God on your side, all things are possible.
Yes.
There's
Amen. I
nothing
agree.
that you cannot do with Him.
Yeah.
Everything is possible. And for some, it's probably some walk in a much deeper relationship than others. But you know what? The end is God loves us. He cares about us, and He will take care of you if you trust Him. He will. Hy's 'n waarmaker van sy woord.
Yes.
Jy weet,
Absolutely.
wat hy sê in sy woord, dit sal hy doen.
Definitely.
Ja, jy moet net aanhou. And the last thing I want to say is, praat net, just speak life over yourself. Speak
Yes.
life. Don't speak death. Don't say, I don't know. Just speak life over yourself. Death and life is in the power of your tongue.
Yes.
When you speak that, Proverbs 18:21, you speak life over your life and your family, and you believe and you move forward. As a South African, I don't see any reason that somebody cannot make a good living in America. I don't see any reason for that.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Such a powerful word and something I've been living by too. I've also been through a lot, and like you said, you have to speak that over your life and believe in the promises of God because He will
Amen.
provide for you. Whatever
Yeah.
it is, it may not be what you think what your
Yes.
life is going
Yeah.
to be, but His plan is ultimately
The
the
best.
best plan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you
yeah,
hold on to him because he knows what's going to happen tomorrow. He knows
exactly.
everything. Why would you want to go in that? I said to somebody this week, it says, if you walk through a landmine area, and I was in the army, I was in the special forces in South Africa. If somebody want to know, I was a paratrooper in
Wow,
South Africa. But if
impressive.
you walk through an area like that, the best way to walk through an area of landmines, you step into you stop in die voetspore van die ou voor jou. Want dan
Yes,
weet jy gaan nie in die land mee trap.
exactly.
En
Yeah.
die persoon wat voor jou stap, sy naam is Jesus.
Ja.
Net stap lê net in sy voetspore loop and you're gonna be
You're
fine,
gonna be fine. Yes.
I mean, we were pastors there. We are authors of book discipleship here in the U.S. We help people just to put their faith in God and just to grow their relationship and just stay focused, and God will do the rest. He's doing the heavy lifting for you.
Yes.
I agree. And you know what? Just to kind of wrap things up with, I would love to, you guys can give me the link of your book. I can share it with, some of our members if
Yeah.
they're interested. I
Yeah.
think especially making this move right now is spiritually preparing yourself and being in the right mindset is so important.
Right.
It's not just what you do, it's who you're, leaning on and
Yeah.
for such a
Yeah.
big move, it's very important.
That's right.
That would
And if somebody, and I'll send you the link of that. The title of the book is "Living Your Identity in Christ." But I'll send you a link. But if somebody say, I really cannot afford it, just let me know. I'll send you a book. You
All
know,
right,
don't don't worry about that. I'll bless you with one.
It's more
you know,
important that they read what's in it.
yeah, it's
Yes.
more important that, and that the book is very much focused on your identity, and that you can do that. You know, nothing is too big for you. You know,
Yeah.
so.
That is so amazing. I just want to thank both of you. This was like way more than I expected I would get out of a little interview. But thank you so much, Anita and Anton. Julle is great, amazing. And I will, as soon as I publish it on YouTube, I will send you a link to it. You can also, if you want to listen to our our
That would
interview.
be
Yeah,
awesome.
This is my
absolutely.
first one, by the way. I've done a bunch of not
Yeah.
Zooms, spaces on X. That's where we
Yeah.
used to do them, and we've got a lot of viewers. We get like 3,000,
Wow.
through. So people
Yes.
watch us,
Right.
and just helping where we can. So you
Ja,
guys
maar
are also
dankie dat
part
jy
of
dit
my
doen,
ministry.
Andrea. Ek dink dis fantasties wat jy doen. Wel, ek sien of jy was ek net so iemand geken het toe ek hier gekom het.
Yes.
Ons het niemand geken nie. Ons het niks geweet nie. Oh my goodness. Dit te doen wat jy doen is amazing.
Ja, dis
Baie dankie daarvoor. Ek dink baie
Ja,
mense
dit is 'n
gaan
groot plesier. Dis 'n groot plesier. En weet jy
Ja.
wat, Anton, kan ek ook vir jou sê, ek het lank ook gesukkel met my eie nie identiteit nie, maar wat is my doel? En toe hierdie hele ding begin, toe het ek net hierdie ongelooflike gevoel gehad dat ek moet
Wow.
ek moet iets doen. En ek het al involved geraak met hierdie organisasie. So dis ook, soos ek sê, dit is it's all God,
Dis fantasties.
Ja, that is so
Ja,
awesome.
daar is so 'n nood daarvoor. En jy klink vir my jy's presies die regte persoon vir die job.
Ja,
Ja,
precies. Ja, nee, absoluut. Ag nee, maar dis wonderlik julle. Ek sal weer met julle chat. Ons sal
Okay.
kontak hou en ek sal maar mense na julle toe stuur.
Ja.
Wat belangstel en so aan, maar ja, ons sal gou
I
weer
want
praat.
to ask you, ek wil jou uitvra, mense wat net nodig het om bietjie te encourage te word. Want dit was my
Yes.
grootste behoefte. Is I
Mm.
just wanted to talk to someone. Just tell them where
Yes.
I'm at, how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, just to share with somebody my heart and have the right person to talk to, because you don't want
Yes.
to talk to somebody that's talking with the problem,
No,
You
and
talk-
you get a lot of
yes.
people that do that, they're like kind of agreeing with you, but maybe you need, some other advice, some godly advice. And there's a lot of people that I'm happy to send your way, people that are getting anxious about waiting,
Yes.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's very difficult for people to accept
to
that,
wait it out.
we just don't know, and that's kind of like where a lot of people are at, so
Ja. Ja.
definitely.
Nee, doen dit enige tyd.
Ja,
Mans op,
anytime.
jy weet die mans. Ek sê mans moet by Jesus uitkom, by sy voete
Ja.
uitkom. Dis ons is dat die mans net hulle vrouens daai dinge dan doen. Jy weet die mans moet opstaan.
Yeah, definitely.
We designed, God created us to lead, to provide,
Yes.
and to protect, so that's who we are. That's our instinct,
Yes,
so,
yes.
we need to get that strength from him. Yeah, definitely.
Amen. Amen. Well, it was so fantastic to talk to both of you, and we'll talk again. Like I said, I have your contact information now, and
Okay.
we'll sign
Yeah.
off. And thank you so much.
You're
Sure.
welcome.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.